Hello, this is a Model B Steinway grand piano that's 6 foot 11 inches long, made in 1926, fully restored in great detail. I have another video of this piano, but we've just put it now into a concert venue and it needs fine tuning and voicing. As you'll see from this app here, which is an app you can get free on, it's not an accurate tuning app, but it gives you an idea. So it's slightly flat. About 1 beat flat, so it needs pitch raising. That's a bit less flat, but it's slightly varied. It's new strings, and that's why it's just been fully restored. So I'm going to pitch raise and fine tune, and also mark the keys if they're a bit bright or maybe a bit low, mainly a bit bright because they're new hammers, so that's normal. And then mark on top here. Don't mark on the keys. It's easier to rub off if you mark on this key stop rail. Now first of all I want to set the A. If you download an app while you're listening to this video, then you should be able to hear the pitch that it's at. As I say, this app is a rough app rather than an accurate tuning app, but it's something you can get free. So you can set this at about 442. In the shop I'd probably set it at 443 or 444, allowing it to drop down. This is a concert venue, so you don't want to be too sharp, but normally pianists are happy with 442. If you're in the trade and like to debate that, please do. So that's sort of about 442.5, and then it might drop down to about 441, which is fine, or 440 will be alright, but I'd like to leave it slightly sharp, so later on there's less tuning to do. Less turning of the pins means that in the long term they don't get looser. My way of tuning is to put downward pressure and play it quite loud. If you're used to tuning and playing very loud, then you ought to have ear protection. In the old days we didn't do that and our ears suffered as a result. And to get it as accurate as we can, as beatless as possible. That appears to be quite a lively sound because it still sounds as though it's almost beating, but that's the nearest we can get. And then the other string, we can put the wedge in the other side. So I've decided that's as accurate as I can get it, with quite a lively sound, which is very pleasant. You won't necessarily get an unbelievably pure sound when you're tuning. The thing is to get the purest sound that you possibly can, and more important that it stays stable. I'm not going to go right through all the tuning because you get terribly bored, I'm sure, but having set the A, my order of tuning is to tune the C's next, and I do go round the clock as I've shown in other videos. So this isn't going to be a comprehensive tuning video. I don't have time to make that either, sorry about that, but I'll switch it on when I think maybe there's something that might be useful if you're a tuner or just like to learn a bit. So now I've set my temperament area, which for me is from this C here right down to that F sharp. So unorthodox. I've got longer videos on this, but today I haven't got much time, sorry about that, so I'm trying to show you a few things that might be helpful. When I set my temperament, obviously you check the thirds afterwards, and I try to make my home keys just a little bit less beating than the distant keys. So for instance that is beating less than that. I've got other videos about this, so just briefly, if you're new to tuning, then equal temperament is what I would recommend, and generally speaking for concerts equal temperament, but I just like to lean slightly towards the home keys being slightly less beating than the distant keys. You can debate that certainly if you'd like to on the video, but the main thing is stability, that they won't go out of tune again. And I want to tune this again actually before any concert. This is just moved in here, so this is just turning all the tuning pins. If you do that, then obviously the tendency is for it to be less stable, though from experience it's very stable, but I'd like to come again before the first concert and just to check all the stability of all of them and check the tuning again, and voicing. I haven't got a lot of time to do voicing now. I've just marked one here that but also before the next tuning I'm going to voice the piano a lot more. So now I'm going to tune from C sharp here right up to the top of the piano, and then I should do the bass after that. Now, generally speaking, make the treble slightly sharper. If you're new to tuning, I recommend you do it slightly sharper than I would now. So slightly sharp, octave very slightly beating. You can use your tuning app if you've got one, just to check you're slightly sharp. Not too much. For me nowadays, I used to tune when I was young quite a lot sharp, but nowadays less so. I should go back on this to check it's not too sharp. But I think that's probably about right. So about 1 beat a second there, and as we do the ones next to it, it'll pull it down, because as you tune these up, the extra tension pulls these ones down. And the A is slightly lower than it was before originally, so putting extra tension does bring them down. Now, having gone right to the top of the piano, we're going to do from the tenor right down to the bottom bass. I particularly check fourths and fifths, wanting the fifth to be almost beatless and the fourth less so. And the octave obviously as perfect as possible. If anything, the octave can be very slightly flat as you go down. Tuners vary in that respect. If you're a tuner and like to comment, please do. So the fifth, more or less pure, fourth slightly beating. I pitch raised the whole piano, and A has dropped to A441, about 0.5, which I'm very happy with. That's fine. As I say, that means the next tuning we don't have to turn too many pins. This time we had to turn most of them, so that's actually better for stability. And check the tuning, like this is how I check the tuning normally. Fifths and octaves. So if you've got your own way of tuning, checking tuning, please let me know. I'd love to learn. One of the reasons for making videos, obviously it's something I really enjoy doing, but one of the reasons is to get feedback. So it's really helpful. I've learned a lot from comments before, so please do comment. Now I've voiced that one there particularly. I don't have time to do them all now. That's a normal way of checking them. You can hear that sharp there is slightly brighter than the natural, so we're going to mark that. And so on. There's quite a few, they're very slightly brighter. So obviously if it's more bright, then I tend to put a bigger mark or 2 marks, and then we can voice them. Now I've got other videos on voicing hammers, and I'm sure if you can direct me to a good videos on that, that'd be really helpful. Again, we want to learn all the time. So this one here we've marked for voicing, that was the worst one. So you can see the slight indentations of here. I normally voice in between for the unicorder, just to make that slightly less bright, because when the pedal shifts, then the idea is that a different part of the hammer hits the string. And also I can fluff it up slightly, then I know I've voiced that one before. It's just something I like to do, but you have to have your own method. As I say, it'd be really helpful to hear. 1.5 millimeters deep. This is fine voicing. Initial voicing must be down here before the hammers are put on the piano. It's really important to deep voice here. My colleagues tell me, who do it all the time, about 20 stabs really deep, with not such fine needles. Obviously you want to get in deeply, and that gives the hammer some bounce. And then on the shoulders, and then finally this is fine voicing when it's in the piano, and you just want to tone down usually, because they're put on as tight as possible. The felt's put on as tight as possible. Now these are Renner hammers. Renner, now owned by Steinway. All Steinway hammers are made by Renner and have been, as far as I know, for a long time. So genuine Steinway parts, and we just want to voice that gently, and obviously got to try it out. Then this one here, again voicing in between first, then I know that I've done that, and also the inner quarter needs voicing for, and this one here. So I definitely not got time today to do much more than this, so I've got other videos on voicing, and I'd love to see any videos you can direct me to on voicing, because voicing is something which is a bit of a mystery to a lot of tuners, and it always used to be to me. Going on the course with Steinway, Ulrich Gerhardt's helps a lot, and he's the one who has said 1.5 millimeters maximum. He's Steinway's chief technician in the UK. So that's fine voicing and fine tuning and voicing. Steinway grand piano just been put into a concert venue, and it's had new strings. I hope that's been helpful. Sorry, I don't have very long today to make a long video, but if you want any videos or anything particular, perhaps this is an opportunity for you to ask you. Please do let me know, and if you can direct me to any good videos on tuning. We're all learning all the time. Thank you very much for listening.